So thanks everybody for joining today for our CloudExtend Excel for Salesforce Office Hours. So my name is Joseph. I'm your Customer Success Manager here on the CloudExtend team. And then you see on the left, we have Kevin Ha, our Solution Consultant. And then I'm on the top right. And at the bottom there, we have Chris Corcoran, our General Manager. All right, so just an overview of what we'll be covering in today's office hours. First, we'll go over a quick overview of the CloudExtend Excel for Salesforce, and then we'll go into how you can add and update leads, as well as how you can do a bulk upload for your contacts and accounts. And then we'll move into price books and SOQL, and then we can open up to questions. We do want this to be as interactive as possible, so feel free to ask any questions that come up during the office hours.
And I would just add that as you guys ask questions, there is a Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom screen, so that you'll see a chat icon and a Q&A icon. It's best if you use the Q&A icon. That's easier for us to watch as incoming questions come in. And as Joseph said, sorry, but please do make it interactive and ask as many questions as you like.
Okay. And with that, I can pass it off for the tips and tricks to Kevin.
Give me. Hey, how you doing? All right, great, perfect. So give me 1 second, let me get this set up here first.
So while Kevin's setting everything up, I do just want to quickly, just as a general manager, just reach out and thank everyone for joining. And hopefully you can provide some feedback after this. We've just started these tips and tricks webinars, so we hope that they're useful for everyone. We want to try and get as much attendance as possible, answer as many questions as possible.
Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do here, though, is I'm actually going to give like a general overview. And from there, I can actually show you some of the tips and tricks here first. Great, awesome. Well, to get things started, when it comes to a brand new user, if you want to use the CloudExtend Excel for Salesforce, just go into Insert. You're going to go to Get Add-ins. And once you're in Add-ins, you're going to go search for CloudExtend. And when you search for CloudExtend, it's going to return 2 results. You're going to select the one, the first one that says Salesforce Data Management. And when you click on Add, it's going to live under the Data ribbon. And for you, you're going to see only just the Managed Salesforce Data. You're not going to see the other Managed NetSuite Data right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the Managed Salesforce Data. It's going to populate on the right-hand side. And this is where you're going to log in with your Salesforce credentials. So let me log in right here. Okay, so once you have logged in, what I want to do first is I want to kind of go through on how to build a template. And essentially, a template is a collection of fields that you would add up inside of the CloudExtend template for a specific object or record type that you're working with. So for example, today's use case or demonstration, we're going to create a template for accounts as well as have its related contact fields associated with the accounts. For this demonstration, what I want to do here is I want to go into this option right here that says Add a Template. So this, when you click on Add a Template, it's going to give us a list of all the object and record types that you can work with. So for our example today, I'm going to just create a template for leads. And this template will consist of some of the required fields from the lead itself. So if I go into my tab right here, you're going to see that I need the first name, last name, company, as well as email address. But I'm also going to add in a status field that is a required field from my lead page layout. So I'm going to just add in first, and then last name. And then I'm going to add in the company as well. Email address. And then the last one is going to be, like I said, status. Oops. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to just hit next. So the rule of thumb when it comes to naming of the template is really based off of what you're trying to do. So this one is going to be an upload of trade show leads. So I'm just going to say upload trade shows. Okay, so now I'm just going to click on save. And once I hit save, you're going to see that our template kind of sits in our list of templates that we can use and utilize. So in order for us to actually work with this, we can actually go into sheet 2 and load this. And one key tip here too is, say for instance, if you want to add in more fields, you can definitely do that. If you do know what the API name of the field that you're working with, you can add that into the syntax. So kind of a general overview of the display of the template. You can see that row 1 right here, it looks blank, but it does have all the API names within row 1 for each of the columns. And then row 1 right here, or column B right here, is reserved specifically for the record ID. So this is actually, you would see the record ID return back when you create a brand new record within this template. And then column A is reserved specifically for if you have any kind of error messages from Salesforce, that information will be kicked back. Okay, and then some of the tips right here too, say for instance, if you're looking to, when I click on this status button or column right here, you can see that there's this button that shows up on the right-hand side. So if I click on this, you can see that it gives me a pick list of all of my my values within that status field. And if I say, for instance, want to just type ahead and just type in open, you can see that it will populate the rest of the value for me when it comes to that status. All right, so I'm just going to clear that. And so what I'm going to do now too is I'm just going to just lead into just a demonstration of how to upload my trade show leads. So say for instance, if you're at a trade show, maybe you're at Dreamforce, you have all these leads that come in that you have downloaded via as an Excel file, and you just don't want to go through the process of going through a CSV import. You can actually just copy this information from this Excel worksheet with all the first name, last name, and company information, and then paste that into the CloudExtend template right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy the first name right here in this first column, go into sheet 2, and once I paste it, you can see that the table for this CloudExtend template will be expanded to match the number of first names that I have right here. And then you can also leverage Excel formula. So what I'm going to do here is I would like to update this and use Excel formula. But when it comes to using the formulas, you do want to make sure you format the cells to be general format. So once you updated that, you can do equal, and then go to last names. And as you can see, it pulls in my data from my trade show leads. And I'm going to do the same thing when it comes to the company. So I'm going to just drag this over. And you can see that it pulls in my company. And also, I'm going to do it for my email as well. So once I have all that information, I'm just going to double click. Same thing with the email. Okay, and then the last thing here is for status, I'm just going to say working. So it's contacted, and I'm just going to update all of them as the same status. Later on, if you want to go through and pick them through and just update it specifically as to what you have done so far, you can definitely do that as well. But for just a demonstration, I just want to show you when you go down to this update button, it gives you the option of either updating a selected record. So what that means is, say for instance, I highlighted the first 3 rows right here, and I want to only update those 3 rows. I can just select this upsert selected record, and it'll just generate a record ID for all 3 of these individual leads right here. But if I want to update or upload all of them into Salesforce, I'll just select the upsert all record, and it will generate a record ID in column B for all of the leads here. So say no more, I'm just going to upsert all records. And you can see that it recognizes that there's 178 records on this template. And once it's finished, it's going to generate a record ID here in column B for all these individual leads. So if there is any kind of error messages, it will kick back in red in column A. But pretty much all information I have right here is all the required field. And so as you can see, it created the 178 lead records in a matter of seconds. So if I want to look up this lead, I'm just going to search for this specific contact. I'm just look by its email address. So I'm going to just go back into Salesforce. And I'm going to search for that name or that email address. Let me give it a refresh right here. Let me just go to the leads. Okay, so right here, if I go back, let me search for Woody Montez. Okay, as you can see right here, it's right here. Okay, perfect. So yeah, as you can see, Woody's name's right here, the company, and then the email address and the status is updated right here. It's possible that my test drive account's a little bit laggy, but in your production account, it should be working just fine. But as you can see, the lead came in, and you can also see if I go to my leads right here and go to the list, it shows in all the leads I've just uploaded.
I think, yeah, you have the West. You
Okay.
want all. There we go.
Perfect. So yeah, as you can see, the open leads, it populate all the leads I've uploaded into my Salesforce environment. Okay. And then kind of leading into the other demonstration for my, my account and my contacts, I've actually pre-created a template for the account and contacts when it comes to uploading both of those records at the same time. But I just want to kind of give you an overview as to what fields I've added into that template. I'm just going to go and click on Edit. And one thing to note here is the key tip when it comes to working with related records. You do want to build a template based off of the parent record, and that is going to be the account object. So right here, when I build out my template, I'm going to look for the account template. And once I click on create a template for accounts, then I can search for all of my contact fields right here too. So first, what I've added when it comes to the account field is going to be the account name, which is going to be a required field. And then all of the other fields you see right here that has a contacts labeled in front of it. So this kind of denotes it saying that these fields are here for first name, last name, and email are all within the related contact record under the account itself. So if I hit next, let me just hit save. I'm just going to load my template here. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to just do the same thing as what I did with the leads. I'm just going to copy that information over from this sheet right here. So I'm just going to copy my first name, plug it into the first name section right here. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the last name and in the email address as well too. So I'm just going to update the format. And then the last name is on the top right there. Okay. And then the email address, I'm going to do the same thing. Okay. And then for accounts, I'm just going to hit equal. The company name. All right. So right here, I have the account names and the first and last name and email. So slightly different from the lead template that we have created earlier. You can see that there's additional columns that is called contact ID and an account ID. So these two columns right here are side by side for a reason. This is just telling the system that these two records right here are related. And this column E right here for account ID is actually the same as the ID column right here in column B. So once you've created it, you're going to see that the IDs will show up for all three of those columns right here. So I'm just going to go to update, upsert all records, and you can see that it's going to generate and create 104 records when it comes to the account and contact combination or relationship. So in just a sec, we're just going to go into Salesforce and confirm that the account is created, and we just want to confirm that tomorrow is going to be under the 8K construction company. Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to copy the name for 8K construction, and I'm going to go back into Salesforce. Okay. All right, so I'm going to select the account name. And you can see the account names right here. You can also add in more fields from the account detail object level inside of the CloudExtend template, but I basically just added the account name because that's the only required field. And then you can see that tomorrow shows up right here inside of the template. So basically what we're trying to show you is that you can actually basically kill two birds with one stone by creating a template that has both the record types, and then once you have that, then you can upload everything all at once. And this doesn't stop just with contacts. You can add in your opportunity fields within the account template as well. Same thing with the cases, but most of the times, you're probably just going to have a two-level relationship rather than having multiple level of relationship or record type of relationships when it comes to a CloudExtend template. Okay, so that's my demonstration and kind of tips and tricks when it comes to using the CloudExtend Excel for Salesforce. I'm going to pass it back over to Chris, and he's going to go over some of the demonstration of price books and also a SQL statement.
Awesome, great. Kevin, thanks so much for that demo. And then guys, please, remember to keep the questions coming. If you have questions for Kevin, et cetera, go ahead and ask. So I'm going to show really just two quick demos related to price books. In this scenario, let's just say I'm a Salesforce admin and someone asked me to add these new products to a particular price book and then give them a price. So for that, I have a price book template. I'm going to just go ahead and load that. And here you can see I've basically got the parent, the product, and then over here, the price book entries. And then also the price. So there's a few fields here that I'm going to leave blank because they're going to get populated, and I'll go through that as I bring this information in. So the first thing I'm going to do is just copy these product names, and I'm going to put them in the product name here. And then as Kevin mentioned, those will just automatically expand the table. A little hard to see here, but I did also just make the product description equal to the product name for simplicity. Now I need to give this a price. So let's just come down here and copy the pricing over here as well. And now I need to assign it a price book. And that's what this field is going to be for right here. So in this case, I'm going to first add this product to the standard price book. And now I've got everything I need. So the ID for the product name is going to get created when I submit this. Let's try and minimize this a little bit so we can see all these. And that same ID for the product is going to be recreated over here. So we'll see it in two different places. Here's for the product, and then here's where it's associated with the particular price book. And then we'll see the price book entry. So kind of that unique combination of product and price will populate here. So let's just go ahead and upsert all records right here. So here we've gone ahead and put in 32 new products and associated them with the standard price book. So now the next thing I've got to do is associate these with the price book that my user asked me to. And I'm going to get rid of the price book here. And I also need to get rid of the price book entry right here. And the reason I'm doing that is if this value does exist, it's going to look for that value and try and do an upsert. So it'll go ahead and just try and change something instead of adding it. But because it is empty, now it's going to try and take this product and add it to this new price book. Hope I explained that okay. So let's look up the price book. In this case, this is going to be Model Y price book. And I'll just double click to bring that all the way down. And now when I click on update, we're going to be creating a new price, a new product, the same product in a new price book. And I'm going to do one other thing as well. I'm going to actually increase the price by 10%. So I'm going to kind of cheat and put in 1.1 here so I can do a little bit of math. I'll just copy that, and then I'll do a pay special multiply. And this is really, I'm doing this because I want to show how nice it is to just use Excel because it's been around for so long. It gets better really, pretty often with a Microsoft 365 account. It's just familiar. It's really easy to do something and to kind of just drag it down like that. So now I'm going to create these products. Let's go ahead and click on Upsert All Records. And I'm also going to increase the price by 10% for this specific price book all at the same time. So that's it. That's done. Now, there's one other thing that I've been asked to do. And someone has asked me, they just given me some product names. And they said, hey, here's the product names, and I've increased these prices by 10%. This is a little trickier because I don't have a Salesforce ID for these. If I did have a Salesforce ID for those, I could just come over here, paste the IDs in, and then I could use something called the refresh. So if you have a Salesforce ID, you can click on refresh down here, and then it'll go out to Salesforce, and it'll pull it in, and you can make that change. But because I don't have the Salesforce ID, what I need to do is a little bit of SOQL. And where I'm going to do that, let's just go ahead and first clear everything out of here. In fact, I'm just going to clear and reload my template. And we have this ability to create a filter here. So in this case, I'm going to click on Create Filter. And if you look down here in this ridiculously tiny box, we're trying to get our engineers to make this bigger for us. You can see the SOQL statement that's going to be starting to be created. So I'm going to first add a new rule. And I only want to pull in values from a specific price book. That name, where the price book is equal to, in this case, Tesla Model 3. This is part of my SOQL statement. So if I click on Edit Filter again, I can now take what I have down here. I'm just going to copy this because this is my kind of my head start or my cheat sheet. And I'm just going to use something like Notepad. Okay, let me drag my Notepad over here to help me build this. So this is what I've got so far. And now I want to add in a where clause. So from product to where name is in. And let's go ahead and get the rest of that SOQL statement. So if I come over here to the products that I need to increase, I think if you're familiar with SOQL, you know I need to put in where the name is in and then parentheses and some a quote, and then some name, a quote, and then a comma. So because we're using Excel, there's many, many ways to do this. My favorite is just a specific format. So I'm going to go into more formats, and I'm going to go into custom. And if I put in a quote, @ single quote, @ single quote, comma, space, that's going to give me what I need. So now I can just copy what I have right here. I'm going to make one small tweak in a second. So I'm going to put in an opening parentheses here. I'm going to paste in my SQL here, get rid of this closing, that last comma, and then close it with a parentheses. So I should now be able to just copy this entire SOQL statement, come over here back to this table, and edit this filter, and just kind of copy everything, delete it, and then paste in my clipboard, and then click on Save, and then download. So just like that, and now obviously if we're working with 20 some odd items, you can make a case that maybe you'd want to do that with Salesforce one at a time. But once you get pretty quick at this, even 20 odd items our app's going to be faster than Salesforce. But more important than that, if you had 100, 200, 2,000, 10,000 items, this is going to save you a lot of time. And now the last thing I had to do was just increase these prices by 10%. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'll just copy, come down here. I'm going to just do paste special and then multiply. And let's just set the currency here. So I have 2 decimal places. And now I could, if I wanted to, update just one record. But in this case, I want to upsert all records. That's what I'm going to do. Excuse me. So just like that, we were able to just like that, we're able to now update the pricing for 20 some odd items that I really didn't have any Salesforce IDs for, but I was able to use that SOQL to bring them in pretty quickly. Okay, let's go take a look, because I think that's what we had on the schedule for demos, kind of the quick overview. There's 4 minutes left, which is plenty of time to answer questions. Let's see what we have. Okay, so the first question, and this actually came up in the webinar we had the other day as well, and it's a really good question. So you saw when Kevin created a whole bunch of leads. Yes, so the question is, can you update leads in the same way? So yes, you can update leads just like I did with this with the price books here. Then the question goes on, okay, if you update the leads, then what happens to lead assignments? So that I learned that myself the hard way. The first time I did an upsert, I upserted thousands of leads in our Salesforce production account, only to find out that lead assignment rules have been put in place since the last time I had done that, and a whole bunch of leads that were updated were reassigned to someone else. Now, luckily, I had all that data in Excel, so I knew who they should be assigned to. So I met with our Salesforce admin. We created a custom field called Do Not Auto Assign on import, and we added that to the template. And then when you check off that box and set it equal to true, it's the first statement inside of Salesforce in the auto assignment rules. It says if auto update is equal to do not auto update is equal to true, then just stop right here and don't do any lead assignment rules. Otherwise, move on. So, yep, really good question. The next question. Can I use this on more than one Salesforce account? So the answer is, I'm going to say kind of yes and no. So each subscription, each license is tied to one specific Salesforce instance. But there is, I would say, a way around that. We also have a group edition license. So if you're a consultant or someone who needs to work with multiple Salesforce accounts, you could purchase a minimum of 5 licenses, and they're only $149 each, so it's not going to break the bank for anyone. And then when you do that, you get a subscription portal that you can log into, and you can add and remove licenses all the time. So if you need to log into, one account at 1 in the morning, and then another account, et cetera, you can just keep switching those up all day long. You could have 5 different users, and then you could just change out all their licenses. Okay, I think the last thing that I'm going to show here, let me just bring over my, give me a second here. Let's bring this window over here because I did want to show that we have a support site as well. I think this is really important that everyone sees. support.cloudextend.io, and if you're an existing customer, you're probably aware of this already. But something new that we put in place recently is this roadmap. So you can come in here to this article. It'll tell you a little bit about what's in the roadmap, like how it works. But then you can come here and you can click to see our public-facing roadmap. So these are some ideas that customers have submitted. These are ideas that we've kind of vetted. And then these are things we're working on right now. We did just put this in place a few weeks back. So you can see there's not a lot of upvotes or anything on these right now. So we do encourage you to come in, add features, review what's here, and then add your own votes as well. All right, let's just take one quick look to see if there's any other questions or if there's anything that was missed. Joseph, anything else on there?
Yeah, one other thing that I do want to note is we do have a YouTube page where we cover a lot of different features, tips, and tricks that you're more than welcome to access.
Yep, good point. And then I think once I show this, then Joseph, I will ask if you could, I'll stop sharing, and then if you just share your screen, then I will. This is our CloudExtend Excel for NetSuite here, but I should be able to quickly get to CloudExtend Excel for Salesforce. Which one is this? Okay. Well, in any event, you guys will see. I'm going to stop sharing right now, and Joseph, I think you actually have this up on your screen as well. And then just share contact info one more time, so everyone knows how to reach us.
Yep. So for any technical support, you're more than welcome to reach out to our support team, CloudExtend-support@celigo.com. And then in terms of getting in contact with all of us, here's that screen again as well. So you have our email addresses, so you can reach out to us directly.
Perfect. And let's see. I see one. Thank you very much. So we did have a very nice person comment. This is great. Thank you. So glad to hear that. And guys, please keep questions coming after the webinar as well. We're happy to answer them. We love this product and want to help you all out. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of the day.
Thanks, everyone.